The Taraxian ship drifted in the void between star systems, its engines dead, life support failing. Captain Mira stood on the bridge, her scaled skin pale with fear as she watched the oxygen levels drop steadily on the ship's monitors. Around her, the crew worked frantically, but the damage was too severe. "Send it," she ordered, her voice barely above a whisper. Her communications officer hesitated. "But Captain, they are humans." A tense silence fell across the bridge. The Galactic Council had isolated humanity for nearly a century after witnessing their brutal efficiency in the colony wars. Too dangerous, they had declared. Too unpredictable. Best left alone in their small corner of the galaxy. "We have no choice," Mira replied. "Send the distress signal." Admiral Jack Thompson of the Earth Defense Fleet sat in his office on Lunar Base Alpha, reviewing reports when his aide burst through the door. "Sir, we've detected a distress signal. Non-human origin." Thompson raised an eyebrow. "From the restricted zone?" "Yes, sir. A Taraxian vessel. Critical systems failure, life support failing. Estimated survival time. 18 hours. Thompson stood. "How far?" 6 hours at maximum burn, sir. Alert the swift response. I want them ready to launch in 20 minutes. The aide hesitated. "Sir, the Council protocols specifically forbid." "I know the protocols," Thompson interrupted, "but I also know that we don't leave anyone to die in space. Not even those who've shunned us." The swift response, Earth's fastest rescue vessel, tore through space, pushing its engines beyond safety parameters. Captain Lisa Reed watched the countdown clock with steely determination. In the cargo hold, her crew prepared medical supplies and emergency repair equipment, suitable for Taraxian physiology and technology. 4 minutes to intercept, her navigator announced. Lisa nodded. "Broadcast on all frequencies. Let them know we're coming." When the human ship appeared on their sensors, the Taraxian crew could hardly believe their eyes. It moved faster than any vessel they had ever seen, a sleek predator cutting through space. "They came," whispered Mira, watching as the human vessel matched their drift with impossible precision. The swift response locked onto the failing ship with magnetic clamps, and within minutes, humans in environmental suits flooded through the airlocks. "Engine rooms this way," said Tom, the chief engineer, leading his team through the alien corridors. "Looks like a cascade failure in their matter-antimatter containment system." While medical teams attended to the injured Taraxians, the engineering teams worked with practiced efficiency, bypassing damaged systems and reinforcing failing components. In just 2 hours, they had stabilized life support. In 4, the engines were operational enough for short-range travel. Captain Reed met with Captain Mira on the Taraxian bridge. "We can escort you to the nearest Taraxian outpost," Lisa offered. "Your ship will need proper repairs, but she'll hold until then." Mira studied the human captain. "Why did you come?" "The Council forbids contact." Lisa shrugged. "Where I come from, when someone calls for help, you answer. Simple as that." News of the rescue spread rapidly through the galactic communications network. The Council convened an emergency session, outraged at the human violation of the isolation protocols. But as details emerged, public opinion shifted. The Taraxians shared recordings of the rescue, humans working tirelessly to save a species that had voted to quarantine them, asking nothing in return, refusing even the customary salvage rights that would have been their due under galactic law. 2 weeks later, Admiral Thompson stood before the Galactic Council's holographic representatives, his posture relaxed but dignified. The Arcturian counselor spoke first. "You deliberately violated the isolation protocols, Admiral." "I did," Thompson agreed without apology. "To save 63 lives," added the Taraxian representative, who had not been expected to speak in humanity's defense. The Grand Counselor, an ancient meridian with crystalline features, leaned forward. "Explain your actions, human." Thompson's gaze swept the assembly. "There's not much to explain. We received a distress call. People were dying. We had the means to help. In human culture, that's all the reason we need." "Even for those who rejected." "You?" asked the Philesian counselor. Especially then, Thompson replied. Any spacefaring species should understand this. Space is vast and unforgiving. Today it was a Taraxian ship in trouble. Tomorrow it could be one of yours or one of ours. Out there we're all just trying to survive. Murmurs spread through the council chamber. Your rescue team showed remarkable knowledge of Taraxian physiology and technology, noted the science counselor. Knowledge you shouldn't possess under isolation. Thompson smiled slightly. We've spent the last century preparing to meet our galactic neighbors again. We studied everything available in the public archives. We've trained for thousands of scenarios, including emergency response for every known spacefaring species. Why? Demanded the military counselor. To what end? Because that's what humans do, Thompson said simply. We adapt, we prepare, we survive. And when possible, we help others do the same. The council deliberated for days. Meanwhile, something unprecedented occurred across the galaxy. Ships of various species began broadcasting on human frequencies, sharing coordinates and identification, not distress calls, simply greetings, acknowledgments of humanity's actions. When the council reconvened, their decision reflected this shift. The isolation protocols were suspended, pending a complete review. 6 months later, Earth hosted representatives from 27 species. The Galactic Cooperative Emergency Response Initiative, informally known as the Distress Protocol, was ratified. Admiral Thompson stood with Captain Reed as they watched ships from across the galaxy dock at Earth's orbital stations. Not bad for a species that was supposed to stay isolated forever, Lisa remarked. Thompson nodded. They feared our capacity for violence. Now they're beginning to understand our capacity for compassion. In the vastness of space, where danger lurked between every star, humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their resilience, though both were remarkable. It was their unflinching willingness to extend a hand to those in need, regardless of differences. One distress signal answered without hesitation had changed everything, and the galaxy would never be the same.